All right, guys. Welcome to another edition of Bro Talk Live. This is a different type of thing that we're going to do today. It's not going to be the joyous, robust, funny conversation. Oh, it might be funny. We'll see. But we're discussing the news from last night. And if you've been living under a rock and not at all on planet Earth, or if you just slept through yesterday, shame on you. You probably helped make this happen. But secondly, Donald Trump is the president of the United States. I cannot believe that I'm saying this. Yes, president-elect, whatever. He's going to be president of the United States. He was voted president of the United States. Stunning upset. Something that was more predictable than the Cavs winning Game 7. What else was shocking there? When Muhammad Ali
World Series.
Yeah, when Mike Tyson got knocked out, the Cubs win the World Series. There's a lot of stuff that's happened that's surprised us. But I think this is definitely the most unpredictable election season we ever saw. And we're going to talk about it a little bit because, speaking sometimes is therapy. So if you speak something out, sometimes you can get it out. If you're frustrated, you feel a little bit better about it afterwards. So hopefully we'll be able to go on with our lives for the next 4 years. And this show won't get canceled by Donald Trump. But nonetheless, here's what happened. Donald Trump pictured here with a thumbs up last night at his victory speech. With his wife Melania and his vice presidential running mate Mike Pence, as well as Mike Pence's wife. I do not know her name, but sorry. So this electoral college map is what Donald Trump was all about last night, and he dominated it from the jump. He took an early lead. The only time he surrendered it is when Hillary got California there for a bit, but he ended up winning the electoral college map. Unofficially, it's still counting a few in Arizona, Michigan, and New Hampshire, but he didn't need those. He won 279 to 220 last night. Guys, initial reactions to the night that we had. It was a long night. This thing was not called until late last night. I'm not sure what time it was. I went to sleep at around 11 my time, so that was 2 Eastern. Did any of you guys stay up the whole time?
Naturally, of course it did.
Yeah, I did.
Nope.
So what time did it actually end?
I'm around 2:30. Around 2:30.
2:30, close to 3:00. Like when they started, like, because I had it on 3 different channels, so it was really confusing for me. I had cell phone going, I had my laptop, and I had the TV as well. So it was like how you see something and you're like, I'll wait until I see it from another source, and then you see it there, and you're like, I'll wait till I see it from. Oh, there it is there too. So it's kind of like, for me, like, I kind of officially knew around like 3:00 is when I'll say like I knew officially.
What was your reaction to the entire night? Like, what did your watch night consist of? Like, because we were going to have a taco party, and the fact that the Mexicans were going to be able to stay because Hillary Clinton was going to get elected, so we decided to have a taco night in honor of them. And the tacos, they were good at first, and then about an hour in, I was just like, yeah, this isn't the celebration that I thought it was going to be. For like the last 4 or 5 hours, I should say, just watching CNN and horror.
For me, like, yesterday started off great. Like, I woke up super excited about the election. Like, I loved talking about politics, like being involved with it, like arguing with people about it. Like, it was fun. And then I had some great opportunities at work yesterday, like amazing opportunities at work yesterday to interact with some huge politicians. And then I went to go vote, and I voted in record time. Like, people were saying like, oh, the lines are so long. Like, my line was fine because of like where I vote. It was in and out. So like, I was like, oh, this is great. Like, so then I got home and I sat down and I watched it. And like, for me, like, I prided myself this election season on being able to argue both sides. Like, I never endorsed the candidate really, and I was just kind of like on both sides, just like putting the information out there. And yesterday, when the decision was made and when it was final, and I started seeing certain states come in, like, I got like super emotional when it ended because I blamed myself for it. Like, I felt like there's so many things that I could have done differently and should have done differently. And I'm not saying I have this huge following, but I realize and I know that people in this world like get their information through social media. And I know that, and I put things out there, bad things about her, bad things about him. And like when he won yesterday, like it hurt me because I was just like, I should have been more like supportive of her or Bernie Sanders or whatever.
We told you ain't want to talk about none of that stuff that Hillary was doing wrong.
And I truly like cried. And I cried about that because I felt so bad that I did that. And this morning when I woke up, I felt the same way. And like talking to people in my profession, like telling them that and expressing that and being able to be open and vulnerable about that, I come to the conclusion that I'm not mad at myself anymore. I'm actually very proud of myself that I was able to stand in the middle of it and not pick and choose on either side. Like I did a really good job this election season, staying in the middle and not getting involved in things that I really shouldn't be involved in, like endorsing a candidate or whatever. As far as what things are happening now, like Donald Trump being our president, like I'm not bothered by it. I'm okay with Donald Trump being the president because I don't know what that means. Nobody knows what that means yet. I know he said certain things that like, he's like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, but we don't know what's going to happen until it happens. So right now I'm very optimistic. Like I'm not pessimistic about it. I'm very optimistic to see like what's going to actually happen before I like put any judgment or anything like that out. What hurts me though about this is that although he might not be able to do the things that he said he's going to do, there are people out there who voted for him, and the only thing they knew about him were these things that he said he was going to do. That hurts because for me, these are people in Pennsylvania specifically who I go to the grocery store with. And it's like, if you can support that kind of attitude, like that means you care nothing about me and your fellow man. And that's the part that I can't get over. That's the part that hurts. And that's the part that like frustrates me.
All right. Ty, your night, how did it go? Were you, because you're the one who said all along that if we don't do our part, that Donald Trump was going to win.
Yeah, definitely. So the shock that everybody else had, I did not have. I preached the entire cycle that this was a possibility. And people were like, oh, this is definitely not a possibility. And I said, this is definitely a huge possibility. I don't know why people think that a Republican candidate is going to run and just there's no possibility they're going to win. I said it's a huge possibility. And so I kind of sat with the idea before it happened of a Donald Trump presidency. I did try to sit with that idea. However, when it actually happened, although I wasn't necessarily shocked, I was very upset, more upset than usual, because I felt like I went through this thing where I started blaming all the people. And the people I wasn't necessarily blaming it on racist per se, because obviously all those people who voted for Donald Trump are not racist. I do know Black people personally who did vote for Donald Trump for their reasons, and they talked about it throughout the day. And I understand where those people are coming from. So I'm not going to like say, oh, it was all racist. I was more upset with like the people that were like not voting and like for all those ridiculous reasons. And I was a little upset with the independent people too, even though you have the right to do all that stuff. But it was just like a process for me. And I felt like if I vented angrily and got it out right then and there, that I'd be able to process it the next day and then continue to do whatever I need to do. So that's what I did. I cursed good too.
Bill, sorry, are you Donald today, or are you Bill? Or should I say president?
I thought about being Donald today, but I'm like legitimately, I'm like down today. Like I feel like I lost my best friend. Like
it rained really badly all day. It's like crazy.
All day. Like I have never felt more betrayed. And the reason I am so upset, not necessarily because Donald Trump was elected president, because again, like Dex said, I actually don't know what that means, but I know what he said and I know how he made me feel as a person. Like, and I am in one of those groups of people. Actually, I'm in more than one of those groups of people that he does not like. And for me, I understand people, want to like buck the establishment and it's politics as usual. And you get sick of that. Like there was a certain group of people that absolutely voted for him simply because there were minority groups of people that this man doesn't like, or he professed not to like, or he professed to do something again, like these disparaging remarks against women and children and disabled people and veterans and Blacks and Hispanics. If you're not a rich Christian white man, you literally had no reason to vote for this man. And the fact that he is president literally pissed me off because of all the things he said and what he represents, and the fact that there are people who sleep with their children and marry their cousins who have their way. Like, that is what pisses me off the most.
All right. Well, one of the things that people were talking about were who is to blame. Like, it's the third party voters, like Ty said. It's a whole bunch of people that could be, out here to blame. One of which could be white men and white women. 63% of white men, this is according to exit poll data, supported Donald Trump in this year's election. 52% of white women ended up supporting Donald Trump. Now, that white women number is higher.
I think you're.
Let me finish that. Let me finish. This white women number is larger when you get to the specific demographics. Like, for instance, uneducated, or should I say, non-college degree having white women.
Uneducated.
No, like that. Don't say uneducated. Like that. That is one of those.
No,
things.
because if you're
they supported Trump
minorities,
let me finish.
Then it's uneducated.
Let me finish.
So absolutely call them uneducated too. Don't paint them a separate picture. They're
That's
uneducated
so stupid. Like, that's a problem. Like, the fact that you think like that is a problem.
The fact that people think like that is a problem.
Right, but
that is a problem.
But
why is it only that it's uneducated when you're talking about minorities? Them hussies are uneducated too. Just because they're white doesn't make them uneducated.
No.
Uneducated. Move on. They're uneducated too.
No, but when they say this though, they're not. They're talking about uneducated white men or uneducated white women, and don't take that as a good thing or it's like a sense of pride. Like it's not cool when they say it about us, and it's not cool that we're saying it about them.
But the point is that they say it about us, and they don't say it about them. Let them join into their uneducated. Next,
I think that's stupid. Just to think like that is sad,
it might be, but guess
back
what?
to the
They're
point.
uneducated too.
Right.
Don't paint them in
white
that separate light. They're uneducated.
White women who did not graduate
uneducated
from college,
white women
ended up supporting Donald Trump at a much higher clip.
Wait, really quick. So if you don't graduate from college, it's okay to say that you're uneducated?
They lump you in the uneducated group?
Yes or no? Like,
guys,
do you feel like that's okay to say?
Guys,
let's move on.
Okay.
68% of whatever you want to call them, the white women who did not graduate from college, ended up supporting Donald Trump. And an interesting fact from Soledad O'Brien, 45% of the white college educated women also voted for a self-confessed sexual predator, as she tweeted. Black men, black women, Latino, and others all supported Hillary Rodham Clinton. But since white men and white women make up apparently the majority of America, that's what happened. Another epidemic that was going on was the amount of people who did not vote. Chanel's numbers: 231,556,622 eligible voters were out there. 46% of those people did not vote. 25.6 voted for Clinton, and 25.5 voted for Trump. 1.7 of those voted for Gary Johnson. Do a little survey on who voted and who didn't in the locker rooms, and there was a report that came out of the 16 players. They did a poll, and the 16 players polled in this Lions and Vikings locker room poll, 8 said they had no intention of voting. So half of those players, half of football players in the locker room that they polled, said they did not have any intention of voting. Eric Ebron, who tweeted during the debates his intentions to move to Canada if Trump won, has since changed his tune, saying, quote, "It's just not what I'm interested in. I don't want to have to say if it goes good or bad. I feel like maybe those of us who didn't vote will have less blame. If it works out terribly, we'll have it out." There are other people who are getting the blame, like Ty said, people who have supported third-party candidates like Jill Stein and Gary Johnson. Guys, who is there here, or is it just that America spoke its mind?
So can we go back to that?
You asked that question. I didn't hear you.
Can we go back to that graph for a second?
Which graph?
The one with the pie chart and the numbers.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the one that all of the poli-sci majors on Facebook are like putting up. So the first thing is, so what I think, I'm not actually sure, but I think it's only 34% of white men voted and only 36% of white women voted, and then like 5% of black men voted, and out of that percentage, these are the percentage numbers that voted for Clinton, and then out of that number, these are the percentage numbers that voted for Trump and other. So I think the way it's read is 34% of white men voted.
That number is the percentage of those respondents down at the bottom who took this exit poll. So that's what those percentages are.
Oh, okay. All right. That answers my question.
Also, a lot of people are disputing that Latino portion too. Like they were saying that based on the way the exit poll was done, that's not accurate, and that Hillary Clinton actually received 79% of the Latino vote, and Trump only received 18%. And the reason I bring that up is because I got that from a Latino site, and like a lot of Latino journalists were saying that because they were trying to push the blame to other people. Like they were trying to push the blame specifically to African Americans, and they were saying like African Americans didn't come out and vote. It wasn't the Latinos were giving Donald Trump all this support. It was the African Americans who didn't come out to vote because we can't do it all. And that's a direct quote, that we can't do it all. And I think that right there sends a message that when we say like, you know, the country is truly divided, stuff like that and comments like that truly showcase that. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I don't want to be blamed for letting him get in office, so we're going to push the buck onto someone else. And I'm not saying, I mean, 46% of the people didn't vote. So like, I don't know who that was specifically, but you know what I mean? But pushing the blame on somebody else does
that
not
was a little bit
at
of
all.
everybody.
Yeah.
So you say there's no blame to go around. It's just
I think there's plenty blame to go
Okay,
around.
plenty of
but I
blame to
think
go
at this point, it's done. It's
Yeah.
done. It's over with. Like you handle it how you handle it, but to continue to harp on that, it's like beating a dead horse. Like it's over with.
Right. And I mean, I think that was a part of my initial process to like get this into my reality. But like once I went to sleep and woke back up, like I was no longer blaming groups of people for what happened. I was preparing myself for what's happening. And I started looking seriously at Donald Trump and the things that he's proposing and really trying to see what's going to work and what's not going to work and how we're going to block the things that we don't think are acceptable and how we might be able to live with some of the things that might be acceptable. Like, I don't think the wall is happening. I'm not really thinking about that. I don't think this massive deportation is happening. There are some things that aren't happening, but like the coal mining and all the other stuff, like some of that's actually happening. So we got to think of some of the things that we're able to tolerate and some things that we're not. And I think that's what's productive for me.
What was your thought when you saw that Trump dominated like that with women? Like Hillary herself is a white woman running for the presidency, but she couldn't really win white women. So what the hell happened?
I could not believe it because Oprah still has the vote of white women, and Oprah supported Hillary and they did not, which means like what I understand is that there is a shift in the political scene. Nobody wants politics as usual, but people are so desperate for something new that this is what they went to. And I just can't believe that it was him because of the disparaging remarks he made about every group of people that's not a rich white Christian man.
I mean, he really sold this crooked Hillary thing. And I think that
he did.
I think I said this before. When Obama ran, he had to be this squeaky clean black person. Like we weren't just going to run any black person. Like it just wasn't going to happen.
And a lot of people are blame. Sorry, speaking of blame, I just want to touch on that because a lot of people are also blaming Hillary's team, her whole campaign staff, for pushing her to be this RoboCop type of, politician. She had to be tried and true. She had to have 40 years of experience. Like, who in American politics history has the resume of a Hillary Clinton? And she seems like she's the only person who's good enough to run for presidency in the Democratic Party when people have been telling you for years, like, Hillary hasn't won yet. Like, she hasn't come close yet. So why would she, why would you continue to push something that necessarily wasn't there?
Yeah, and I partially blame the Democratic people. Like, I blame a lot of people, but at some point I just had to like get over it. I forgot the last point I was trying to make, so I just made a new one.
Wait, just to correct you, I do think she's come close twice. Like, she's come very close.
She came close, but she didn't really come. Okay, she came close this time because she was running up against Donald Trump. Granted,
but close. I mean,
Obama.
I think she did better. She did better last time than she did this time. She annihilated her.
She didn't make it to the election. What are you talking about?
Right. But at least when she went against Obama, like, we looked at it like she had an opportunity to win.
She had a chance.
Last night watching it, he Killed
He
her.
swept the floor.
In the
Bigly.
first 30 minutes, he was already up 19 electoral votes to 3. There was no chance.
And that's one of the reasons why, like, I don't get upset about this, because people spoke their mind yesterday. And the only person that I give that's allowed to not vote yesterday, the only human being on this planet besides convicts who are on parole that wasn't allowed to vote yesterday was Monica Lewinsky. She didn't have to vote, but everybody else should have voted yesterday.
Hey, how do you feel back to that? How do you feel about the 46% of the 231,000 people? So about 115,000 people decided that they just weren't going to show up and vote yesterday. And, you know, one of those people was Colin Kaepernick. And he said that the reason that he did not vote is because he didn't believe in either candidate. He set this one up. Now, there was a lot of reaction to that online from various shows and stuff like that condemning him. But for someone who doesn't support either candidate or even the third party or fourth party candidates, do you not have a right to not vote?
I'm with the condemnation. I believe that you should absolutely get out there and vote.
You don't have a. That's not a right. Let's just clear that up. Not voting is not a right. There's nobody that fought for your right not to vote. That doesn't make any sense. So don't call that a right.
Ridiculous.
It's not a right.
And the gag is that voting isn't actually a right for minorities either. It's a bill that actually passed every certain amount of year.
It's a choice to not go out there and vote, but do not sit there and call it a right. And for somebody like Colin Kaepernick, who has this massive following, you have little children who are kneeling at the national anthem, don't even know what they're kneeling for, but they see you do it and they do it. The same way those little children do that, there are grown men out here who think, just follow you, do whatever you do. And the fact that you sit there and you say, like, oh, I don't like either candidate, I'm not going to vote. People listen to that and they follow that and they say that. And I don't like people who didn't vote. Like, that pisses me off a lot that they didn't vote. But what really blows me is the ones who didn't vote and have the audacity to post about it and brag that they're not voting. I seen so many people yesterday take pictures and say, like, I'm so proud of myself, I'm not voting. Okay.
Yeah, that's what really pissed me off. And people were like, oh, well, if you have a problem with it, unfollow me. And I did just that.
Of course I'm going to unfollow you.
I had it up to here with ignorance, and it just bothered me.
Well, to play devil's advocate, Dex, last week you did say that you did not know who you were going to vote for. You did say you didn't want to vote. Mm-hmm. You said you did not want to make a vote. So some people may still have felt like that on election night. Hey, I don't know who to vote for. I really don't want to vote.
Then that's not okay. But that's not okay, though, because with me expressing the fact that I didn't know which candidate I wanted to vote for, that is one of those things that's saying, like, I don't know who I want to vote for, but I know I need to vote.
But he's still going to vote.
I know I need to vote. I just don't know who I want to.
I'm just saying there are people out there who think along the same lines as you, but just don't verify it with. I need to vote.
No. They don't think along the same lines as me. No, they don't, because if they did, they would have been out there voting.
Did you not hear what I just said? I said they think along the same lines as you, except they just don't feel like they have a responsibility to go vote.
No, bro. That line.
No, bro.
What you just said cracked off a little bit. So.
All right. Moving on. Some conspiracy theories people are wondering about. This Twitter post: Hillary won all 3 debates, leading racist, not sexist, not homophobic, the most qualified, and Trump is ahead in votes. How? Hillary did end up winning the popular vote, though. She won it by around 150,000 votes. But for the 5th time in the U.S. history, the popular vote winner did not end up becoming the president because of the college. This tweet saying that the system elected Trump, but the people elected Hillary Clinton. A stream of tweets right here. Of course, we read from the bottom up. So let's start on the left-hand side from the bottom up. This is from a tweeter named Metro Adlib. A man who has never held office, who has not paid taxes in 2 decades, who has no demonstrable understanding of laws or systems of governance, a man who has suggested banning Muslims, a man who has called the Mexicans the imaginable, a man who has lied as effortlessly as he breathes, a man who is petulant, vengeful, ill-tempered, and ill-mannered, a man whose own moral fiber does not measure the surface area of a chiclet. Nothing of geopolitics, diplomacy, international relations, or the delicate, understated, and above all fragile infrastructure of treaties, alliances, and agreements that bind them. That man should not be president. And while his ascent to the highest office in the land is still democracy, it is the very worst part of it. Guys, after last night's election, is democracy working? Is it not? Should this be overhauled just because of the fact that Donald Trump won president, or are people just mad because their candidate lost?
At the end of the day, it's their candidate lost. But go ahead, Will.
So the first thing is, we don't actually live in a democracy. We live in a republic. That is the first thing. People need to stop, like, get this idea of a democracy. Oh, everybody's free and we all have an equal say. We don't. We live in a republic, which means that the government has more say than we actually do, and we just give suggestions. We live in a republic society. That's what it is. I agree that I don't.
But that's not how it's advertised. It's advertised.
No, it's absolutely not how it's advertised.
And that's not how.
But that's part of the problem.
What did you say, Dex?
I said that's not how everyone sees it either. I just want to make that very clear.
No, I agree. I mean, but that's what it is. We live in a republic society. It's right there in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, not into the democracy. So we don't actually live in a democracy. We live in a republic where the government has more say. Do I think Donald Trump should have won presidency? No. Do I think we need to do away with the Electoral College? Absolutely. If we want if we want to perpetuate the fact, if we actually want to live in a democracy, one of the things that has to go is the Electoral College. It has to go. I mean, it's cost two people presidency. Like, it's cost Al Gore presidency, and it cost Hillary Clinton the presidency. And it
like the Electoral College and the amount of votes each state gets was actually it was a tactic used to favor the whites, I should say, in the rural areas who felt like their voice wasn't getting heard enough back in the 1800s when, you know, their vote wasn't, quote unquote, counting because they didn't have a lot of people in those areas. So yes, a lot of people are saying the Electoral College is in fact in its own a white supremacist type of system, which affords, you know, rural people more say, more advantages.
Now, as of yesterday, people saying that they definitely wasn't saying for the past two elections.
People have
for the past two elections, they didn't say that. So.
Historically, people have always had an issue with the Electoral College.
Except
However, whenever the Electoral College works in someone's favor, naturally they're going to say they're not pressed to get rid of it. However, I do believe that the Electoral College idea is outdated.
Electoral College, not just one and the other, like Donald Trump did. So that's where the argument is.
Like, I feel like it's outdated and it's useless. Like, the point of it from the beginning, I can understand why they had it, as I read up on some history, but I don't feel like that's something that's necessary right now. We're just keeping it because that's how it's always been. I do think it does need to change. Like, the people should elect the president, period. Not just like 581 people.
Just like we do when we elect people locally. Like, it should be the same way in general.
I agree.
You shouldn't change it just for one election. Then and then you wonder why people only care about the presidential election. You make it like it's this big deal, and it is. But you sell it so well. But then the local ones, you don't sell it. But the local ones is the one that people have the most power in, and people don't understand that. I don't understand how people don't get that. I really don't. And we have this conversation so often where people were saying like, well, your vote doesn't count because of XYZ, but yet these same people do not do these protests and they do not go hard when it's time to vote locally. That's a problem.
That's because everybody here is like a Facebook activist. They're like internet like activists and internet poli-sci majors. Like, I've never seen the likes of it. Like, I've never seen it.
I've never seen the likes of it. Another thing, though, that I really do want to just get off my chest, because that tweet you read really rubbed me the wrong way. I understand that a lot of us do not want Donald Trump to be our president, but at the end of the day, he is. Mm-hmm. And the same way I did not like when people were disrespecting President Barack Obama, I don't like it that they're doing this to Donald Trump. And like,
you cannot like it. You can say that as long as you want. You don't have to like it. I don't care if you like it.
Well, that's sad if you're doing that. And currently there are protests in Philadelphia, New York City, and Chicago at Trump Towers. What the hell do you people expect Donald Trump to do? Go into the office or go, I don't know where he's supposed to go. Go to his manager and say like, oh, I'm not qualified for this job.
His manager.
Yeah, I'm not qualified for this job. So can you like either train me or fire me? Like, I don't get it. Like, what are you looking to happen? Like, what we have to do is just.
Do people actually do that if they're not qualified for a job?
I don't know. We'll see what Donald does because he's not qualified. But I mean, like, it's just I don't understand. Like, he lost. Hillary lost. Bernie Sanders lost. And a lot of these people out there protesting for Bernie Sanders, you got to give that up. Seriously. And I don't want to come across as this big Trump supporter, but I'm just a realistic human being.
Like one thing I do what you have to look forward to what you can change and what you can do. Like what you can do is what's happening now and what's going to happen in the future. What you can't do is go back and look at the past and worry about what could have been and how things should have been. Like that.
But it's so shocking that you feel like it's just like, what the hell happened? Like, how can I get this back?
Everybody's crooked.
But don't be disrespectful. Don't be disrespectful about it. Like, don't be stupid. Like, I've seen so many. You guys,
I do feel like we have the right to treat Donald Trump.
Exactly.
We have the right to treat Donald Trump the way he treated Obama. We have every right.
Exactly.
You don't have to take that right. You don't have to exercise it.
You shouldn't be that stupid. You shouldn't be that stupid. You should not be that stupid to jump on that bandwagon and do stuff like that. Because I remember
we've been dragging Donald Trump for the last 3 years. Why the hell will we stop?
He's the president now. He's the president now. So you don't.
So he's undraggable.
Please.
We have freedom of speech.
For me,
I think dragging the president makes us American. Otherwise, it's the king. We shouldn't be talking about that.
They've been dragging Obama for the last 8 years.
And that does make it okay to turn around and do it again. I think it's okay to complain about what the president is doing or not doing. That's okay. But to say this orange character is not my president, it's not necessary. Like you sound uneducated.
Who said that on this panel?
I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about in general. All my comments are people in general. I don't make personal attacks for anybody on this panel. I'm talking generally. This is what I'm saying. I haven't seen any of you guys post memes, but if you did, I would have an issue with it. But the memes that I have seen, I have issues with them. They're not okay.
Oh, we can have an issue. Oh God, Dex has an issue. We're breaking news.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And now fix it.
Dex has an issue. Details at 11.
Now fix it.
I don't think that people I've never thought that people should disrespect the office of the presidency. However, if it was okay for them to stand up and call that black president a liar in the chambers of Congress, if it was all right for them to say all sorts of nasty, filthy, vile things for him, this man is no different. And he, unlike President Obama, has disparaged every group of people that's not a rich white Christian man.
Well, they still went out and voted for him, so there's that.
Donald Trump has said so many disrespectful things to other people. I just find it hard to ask for respect for a guy who has disrespected and tried to disenfranchise so many
everybody.
That's me though. Bernie Sanders, for his part, had a statement to say.
What is he talking about?
They asked him last night if he would like to, if he had anything to say. He said, "At this point, I don't have anything nice to say, but I'll get back to you when I do." So today, I guess
that's what he wanted to say.
He said, "Donald Trump tapped into the anger of a declining middle class." I'm not gonna that is sick. Of establishment economics, establishment politics, and the establishment media. People are seeing decent paying jobs go to China and other low wage countries. Of billionaires not paying any federal income taxes and of not being able to afford a college education for their kids, all while the very rich become much richer. To the degree that Mr. Trump is serious about pursuing policies that improve the lives of working families in this country, I and other progressives are them. To the degree that he pursues racist, xenophobic, and anti-environmental policies, we will vigorously oppose him. Guys, Bernie Sanders, his remarks were kind of pointed. Hillary and Barack Obama, or I should say President Obama, while he's still here, they also spoke. They were much more in their resignations, although Obama still has a few more months there. But Hillary was very nice in what she said. She didn't really touch on Donald too much, but she continued to push her message of everyone sticking together and unity and all that stuff. Guys, something Bernie Sanders talked about was the racist, xenophobic stuff that Trump has, Black Lives Matter have come to the forefront in President Obama's second term here. Our issues are widespread. We have a lot of problems with society as it is when it comes to law enforcement. And how do you feel like groups like this will fare under the new Trump administration?
First of all, I haven't. Okay, I don't. I have
I
an
think
issue. Go ahead,
Sorry.
Dex.
no, I think Black Lives Matter movement would do well under the Trump administration. And the reason I say this is because, yesterday Donald Trump won and the Republican Party won very well yesterday. Like it was a sweep yesterday. They killed it yesterday. And there's no checks and balances. So I think movements like the
None.
Black Lives, yeah. So I think
None.
movements though, like the Black Lives Matter movement, and us here on the show, like we are checks. We're going to be doing that. Like that's our job now, and I think we have a responsibility now. And I don't think people really held that responsibility. Like I don't think people really like grasped that responsibility when President Obama was in office, because like he was a black president, so you kind of expected him to like do it for you in a sense. But with Donald Trump, like he's not going to do it. He's told you he's not going to do it. He's told that group that what he thinks of them. So like I think with them though, they're going to be more critical and they're going to be watching him and make sure he's doing the right thing. I think people like Bernie Sanders, and truthfully, hearing Hillary Clinton's concession speech, I think her as well. These people they're gonna be his checks and balance system. They're gonna make sure he's doing the right thing. Like I think the Black Lives Matter movement will get so much more stronger and powerful now. And it's crazy because I think there are white people now that are going to finally understand what Black Lives Matter means. And they're going to get on the same bandwagon with this team, because like I see more hashtags coming. I really do. I definitely see more hashtags, but I also see so much more support coming for this movement. And I really think this is like great for the Black Lives Matter movement. Like Donald Trump being in office is going to do wonders for the Black Lives Matter movement. I really think so. I don't think he's going to do anything for them, but I think that group is going to get so much more powerful. I really think so.
I mean, because it allows people to understand that finally these people are not for you because they told you they weren't. And so then now you have to take on the responsibility of being for yourself. Like you actually have to put in the work. And I think him being president has awakened people to that idea, which is a positive.
That's an interesting way of thinking about it. Never heard that theory before.
Yeah, I also
We bring the utmost of brilliance.
Bill.
Oh, I was going to say, like, I agree with that. There's been a sense of like, there's been a sense of entitlement, which is, I don't understand why, for the last 8 years, or even more. But there's been like a sense of entitlement, and I think this will actually make people like do some work, want to do work. It's going to make people like want to do it for themselves. It's going to make us want to work.
Almost have to.
Yeah, almost have to work. Like almost, it's going to. I think it's going. I legitimately think it's going to light a fire under our communities to make us wake up and actually get the things done that we need to get done, because we know that nobody else is going to do them for us. And just the issue I had with Hillary and her like concession speech, that was really, really disrespectful. I mean, like, I know it hurt her, but I felt like she should have gone out and spoke to her followers. Like, how dare you have all these people out here supporting you? How dare you not give them the decency and the dignity of going out and addressing them yourself? Like, don't be last night. Don't be such a sore loser.
I don't know though, but because like it's crazy because I understand where you're coming from. I do, but like I just remember how I felt last night, and like my first thought this morning was like, if I'm feeling like this, she has to be like.
Yeah, there's a saying that you don't have a you don't have a funeral at a wedding. So it was set up to be a party. It was set up to be a great atmosphere, and she was going in there to make a funeral announcement. So,
but those people would have stayed through the death, the burial, and the resurrection. Like,
think about how you felt when you saw that. Like when that was like a reality for you. Think about how you felt, right? Imagine you were sitting there. Imagine you've been sitting there in the area where they were having that for like hours or whatever, and you are crushed. You know what I mean? Like you're crushed.
I would like to hear from her.
And then she comes out and says that, and it's just like something about, because you know what's crazy? When it really hit me, when I started to cry yesterday, was when I saw on the TV not Donald Trump is the president, but it said Hillary Clinton has called to concede to Donald Trump. That's the part that like hit me, because it was real. Like I'm like that was the part that like you know, that's the part that really makes you just know that it's over with. Like,
Like,
like I'm fine, but I'm just saying, like, that's it. That's the part.
Like I understand, like I get that, and I know how she felt because I know how I felt. But don't you dare send me Todd Podesta to talk to me. You get your behind out here and you concede. Like, don't even. What's his first name?
John, I thought it was. You said Todd.
Todd.
I got his last name right.
All right. Do
Next.
I want to talk about this or no? No, I don't care about
Probably
that.
not real.
Yeah, I don't care about that. Azealia Banks, for her part,
Oh
congratulated.
no.
No, you won't.
Not on tonight. You won't. Already
She-
at one funeral.
Well, you remember she denounced him for a little bit after he said those sexist things about grabbing women by the vagina. She denounced him. She said she was no longer supporting them. But after he won last night, she tweeted and said that she's so proud of him and that she's super proud of what he's
Who
accomplished.
cares?
He
I
didn't
thought
see
you guys
it.
like to be caught up on
He
that.
didn't see it. He didn't see her tweet. He didn't see her first tweet. He didn't see the second tweet. And he does not care about the next tweet that she
Only
sent out.
Jason saw it.
Only
And if it
you
wasn't
saw
for
it.
you.
Only you cared about it.
Like I thought you got a couple of retweets, so I feel like
By
everyone
you,
saw it.
like your multiple accounts. That's it.
I feel like it was national news. It wasn't? Okay.
What should have been national news is that last week Donald Trump settled out of court for rape with a 13-year-old girl.
Oh, did he settle out of court? I thought he still had to go to trial for that. So.
Me too.
No.
I had to go try in December. What happened to that?
Settled out of
No,
court.
he does have trials, but I don't think it's for that case. It's for this is so bad. Like, I don't even know which trial he's
Our
going to
president.
take. Yeah.
Ridiculous. Do you guys over or under the 4 years? Does he make it somehow to stay in the White House, or does he get?
He doesn't think he's going to make it to 4. I don't know
Yesterday
why.
he said 2 years. He said for the
1,
next 2 or 3 years. That's what he said yesterday. So, like, I legit think Donald Trump is going to go to his manager, whoever that is, and like let them know, like, I'm not qualified for this job. Like, can you like give it to somebody else?
So you say definitely not 4 years.
No.
I think he could stand to be the face of it, and but the vice president is going to really be working. His kids are really be working. His team is really going to be working.
But do you think he'll survive 4 years in the White House? Like I personally think something's going to unearth, and he's either going to be impeached or something's going to happen. He's going to go to jail.
That can unearth that has not already come forth. Rape of a 13-year-old girl, grabbing women, sexually assaulting women, disenfranchising minorities, disenfranchising the disabled,
But when the things
disenfranchising Syrians, Muslims, like what?
Like when these things don't actually happen, that's when it's going to be the problem.
But what if he found out that, like, for instance, the Russians somehow hacked the election and skewed votes? Like that stuff is possible. It's Donald Trump we're talking about
this is
here.
crazy though, because Donald Trump has. See, now you're gonna. This is what really pissed me off yesterday, though, and today with our current leaders. Donald Trump has forever been talking about, and even said he was going to sue the state of Nevada because he felt like polls were being tampered with, and he said there's voter fraud and stuff like that, right? So when Hillary was losing, she decided to call him, and it's just like, why does he get to do that? Why does he get to say there's voter fraud and all this stuff, but you just are like, okay, I'm just gonna bow out gracefully? Like that is weird to me that people are so.
You told them that they need to have respect for the president. You just told us that we don't.
No. I think you can have respect, but you can
keep
still
our mouth
be critical.
shut and salute. That's what you told us.
You can have respect, but you still be critical. Like, do you see how Bernie Sanders made his statement? Barack Obama and Hillary. President Obama and Hillary and Secretary Clinton, neither one of them made statements like that. And that bothers me because neither one of them spoke up for the people that Donald Trump has disrespected. Today was their time to do that. And neither one of them did that.
I'm just really like, this man is about to get, like, he's about to be briefed on
He was today. It started today.
Oh,
he got
God. Like, are you kidding me? This man is going to know Area 51 secrets.
Thing I heard all day when I heard it, my heart dropped.
Like,
if you don't know, he now receives the same briefings, security briefings, highest intelligence in all of the world, security briefings that President Obama receives.
He's going to have
starting
like
today.
World War II and Area 51. Like, I just can't believe this. Like, good God.
And he's going to get the POTUS handle on Twitter, just so you know.
Yeah, but they're going to try.
Melania will get floated.
they're gonna transfer all the old tweets though to like Barack Obama and followers to Barack Obama and Michelle Obama's like private accounts, and then he kind of starts over.
And then
so he doesn't get their their stuff.
Our first lady was like new. Like I just cannot. Like let that have been Michelle Obama. Like a former Playboy woman. Like let that have been her.
But at the end of the day, Melania Trump is in the White House now, and she has laid out a platform today that said like her goal is to get rid of
she didn't.
Her goal is to get rid of cyberbullying. Like that's what she's gonna concentrate on for the next 4 years. I don't know what she's gonna do, but that's what her goal is for the next 4 years, to get rid of cyberbullying.
Get. I want her immediate goal for the next 4 years needs to be to learn what her immediate goal needs to be. Learn how to read, get some own thoughts, and then we can go to a platform. I don't want.
She better work on getting that. She better work on getting that permanent green card too, because
in case it don't work out.
You guys are just as bad as those people who drew Barack Obama and Michelle Obama as monkeys on the thing. Like
we're not.
Yes, y'all are. Yes, y'all are.
How?
Because y'all are being.
She came here on a temporary work visa, and she was illegal.
Voting yesterday, so she must be legal now. And she's married to Donald Trump, so she's legal.
Oh yeah, because Donald Trump knows everyone's because he's the one who knew that Barack Obama was born. You know what? I'm not even gonna get into that. You guys have a great week. This has been another edition of Bro Talk Live. We are going to wrap up this American Horror Story, the Trump Year special. We will see you guys bright and early on Tuesday night next week, 7 p.m. East Pacific, 10 East.